Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Bitcoin report. And just before we start, I need a little bit of help from some of the members that are trading Bitcoin. We should be completing the Bitcoin portfolio by this weekend, and I'm looking for a few people a handful of people, more the merrier of course, to just give it a bit of a test run and get your opinions about things and what we could change and what we keep the same and so on and so on. It will look a little bit like the stock portfolio here as well for that thing. So it'll be a portfolio where we'll have trade recommendations and certain things, so yeah, and we'll have watch lists, and you can view charts and do all those sorts of things, and yada 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 and all that sort of stuff. So I won't bore you to death with all of that, but yeah, we're looking for some people to help test drive it, and we'll make some changes from that point of view. So just send an email to Marcia or me at support at Trading Lounge, or Peter at Trading Lounge, and yeah, help would be appreciated. So coming to Bitcoin here, we had two options with this particular pattern that was emerging here, and one of the options was that we could have this as an A and a B and a C wave to here or to here, but we never made quite a low here on this one over this one, so that caused a bit of a problem. So it didn't leave us, with it left us with the door open. We could have had it as a truncated fifth wave here, but it didn't really give us a nice impulse wave up here either at that point, but we can get 5 waves out of it because it does count as an A and a B and a C up here. So anyway, this is where we are now. This is our second option, and well, probably it was originally our first because coming back to the 50-60%, but really it's quite close coming back here as well to the 50%. Now it's sitting right on that sort of 50% retracement level there. Now I've got this as an A and a B and a C wave coming down here. So within that, we'll look at this in a bit more detail, but basically there's 5 waves down here, and then 2 here, and be the third coming down here, needed a bit more to come here, and then there'll be a 4th wave here, and then there'll be a 5th wave that will move down into here. And if we get a classic trading levels pattern, we'll talk about this a little bit more. If we get a classic trading levels pattern here, we'll be able to call in a bit of a long trade at that point. So that's where we are at the moment. So we're looking at this being wave 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here. I don't particularly like it as a wave 2 because it is a little bit large in terms of time compared to wave 1. Another way to view this move up here would be we could also look at that as a wave 4 as well, but let's just go to the daily chart here for a moment and shoot the breeze on a few things. So we could look at it like this and have a larger wave situation happening with 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. A little bit short on this, but each leg is shortening. It's possible. It would bring us down a little bit further. In that case, the 50% would be about here, and the 61, so it would bring us down a little bit further. But we really want that 25 here, the 25,000, to maintain as the support in that case. Now, the other thing too that I want to talk about is that just the bigger picture here for a moment. I won't rabbit on and bore you to death, but basically we can also view this as an A wave here and a B wave over here and a C wave up here for this. That's also doable. And I was looking at, another chart here, and this is Solana here. Now, this is when it started over here and ran up to $200 and whatever. So, but then it's pretty easy to see here that we have 5 waves here for 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So when you get 5 waves in the opposite direction of the trend, then you would get a counter trend on that, wouldn't you? You'd get basically an A and a B and a C wave pulling back up to the 50-60%. It might be short. It could just come back to the wave 4 here. It could put, basically when you're looking at these things is that there's two things to look at. This is one block. That's the first resistance. And then the second block is this one through here. So they're the two, depending on what's going on in the market in terms of things. But normally there's some sort of equality between wave A and B here. So it does look like with Solana here, having 5 waves down here, and then having this as an A and a B wave in here. I won't go into all of that at the moment. And then having a C wave up here, then that would allow for another 5 waves to come down at that point. I mean, it's pretty clear that there's 5 waves here. So an A, B, C, and then another 5, and then that would be the end of the correction at some point. Don't worry about what price point I'm looking at down here. It's just that would be looking at 5 waves. So what I'm saying here is this ABC pattern here would be a good case for this ABC pattern as well. Now, I'm only just sort of shooting the breeze here a little bit, an ABC pattern, and then moving down at that point, because there's always been the case that we can count 5 waves down here. Yeah, sure, you could double XY and you can do this and do that with it and massage it whichever way you want, but a dog's a dog and a cat's a cat, and that's that really. So this is quite real, this situation here. So I think it's just sort of interesting. I will look at some other sort of case scenarios of things that could lead us, like Solana, into that situation. Because things always take much longer than you would expect them to. So to have this as an A wave and a B wave and a C wave coming back down to 10, 15,000 or whatever, and then moving up again, I really don't see anything wrong with that. I mean, to me, that's just all sort of normal play at that point. But anyway, I just thought I'd have a look and, just share the bad news. But in the meantime here, we were just looking at this here on 20k ticks here for this, but we've also been looking at it on 1000 ticks. So this is a bit more detailed picture of that scenario. So I mean, as a wave 2, I don't particularly like it that much, because it's kind of, a wave 2 should be a zigzag pattern. So the A wave for the zigzag, the A wave is 5 waves, and then the B wave, and then the C wave in 5 waves. Call me old fashioned, but a wave 2 is simple and sharp, and it's basically that structure. We're not getting that structure. You could label this, I suppose I could get 5 waves in the A wave with it. I could probably move that over to here and look at that as the B wave, and then the C wave down here. You could double, you could put a W here and have that in 3 waves. And then you could also have a WX and a Y here. And if that was the case, if we had a WXY here, the difference would be that when this comes down here, we can look at that as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave where this is here. So this would become the C wave at that point. So that would be a C wave at that point. So an A, B, C, and finish at that point. So we could go, we could finish this off here. There's some sort of little, obviously there's a 3rd wave here, 4th wave, then the 5th wave coming down should be roughly the same size as wave 1, and then this wave 4 here coming back up to this wave 4 roughly, or 38.2%. So at this point it actually could continue up at that point, but otherwise we'll see another 5 waves down about the same length and time as this one. So this was pretty much at the beginning of the month, the because there was 31 days in March, isn't there? So that brings it over May rather, brings it way over to here. And this is, but yeah, good, a good 2 weeks or so. And then up from that point, and this is the 50 and the 61.8%, and this is the closest largest number. So there's a couple of ways that it could end here. We'll just see, and then once this ends here, then we do want to see this. We want to start seeing impulse waves at this particular point in time, and it'll take a little while to confirm that, the first 5 waves up and so on and so on. But yeah, that's sort of where we are at the moment with everything. So nothing to do. Let's just allow this to unwind. And I think once this finishes here, when we're looking at Solana at that particular point, that would also be probably finishing off whatever it's doing in here as well at that point, you know, and they'll go together and we'll have that 5 waves up there. But I'm saying this too so we don't get lost in thinking, you know, because there's a lot of red eye out there, and you know, you don't really want to be anything, you know, you just want to be a part of history, and also to make some pocket money along the way. So that is that. So I'll leave it at that. So thanks for tuning in. And yeah, look, if there's any hands up for helping us test that portfolio, that would be great. So then we can make it better. You don't have to be you just have to, you know, you don't need to be anything special to have a look at it and press a few buttons and play around and give us your feedback. That would be fantastic. Alrighty, cheers.